Hey, welcome to Borsellino Carpentry. So today's video, I'm working on re-insulating a wall in this house. They had noticed it was really drafty and cold in here. So there was just tongue and groove cedar paneling on here. So I started pulling it off and noticed that there's a whole bunch of different kinds of insulation in here. So stuff has been done in here before. This insulation in particular is really old and there's like nothing left to it. It's so thin, so I can see why it was cold. And with tongue and groove, there's air gaps. So over here, they've done some work on the outside. There was some rot. So this has been replaced right here on the exterior. So this insulation here is new. But when they installed it, they didn't make it tall enough, so there's some air gaps right in here. So we'll fix that. So on this side, we've got another type of insulation, and this is actually installed correctly. The flap is over the stud and stapled on, which gives you a vapor barrier. And then in this corner, there's yet another type of insulation. So just on this one wall over maybe 10 feet, there's 4 different types of insulation. So yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of insulation in this wall. One is installed correctly, the rest of them aren't really. So I'm actually going to use a different type of insulation. This is fiberglass, and I'm going to use Rockwool insulation. Has a higher R value. It's rodent resistant, water resistant. It doesn't sag like these old ones. It doesn't break down. So to figure out how much we need, we got to measure the width of the room, which is a little under 11 feet wide, and it's 7 feet tall. So it's 77 square feet. So the window's approximately a 4 foot by 4 foot. So that's 16 square feet, and we had 77 square feet total. So if we subtract 16 from 77, we need 61 square feet of insulation. So depending on how many square feet come in a bag, we'll just get however many bags we need. All right, so I'm back and I've got the insulation here. I already started putting some in. This is Owens Corning Thermafiber Ultrabatt mineral wool insulation. So it's a little different than fiberglass insulation. To cut this stuff, I actually bought an insulation knife, but you could use a bread knife or anything like serrated. It cuts pretty easily. And you want to cut everything to be like a half an inch bigger than the opening. It pressure fits in and it just stays right in. So let me get my gloves. I always wear gloves during this. Should probably wear a mask too, but I don't have any with me. So in here, there's actually a wire. So right here, there's a wire running in the wall, and it crossed through the bay. So what I had to do was split the insulation like a piece of bread with the knife so that the wire could run in it. And I put one piece behind the wire, one piece in front of the wire. So on the right side of the screen here, you can see there's an outlet box. And what I did was I just cut out the shape of the outlet box out of the insulation, and I left insulation behind it, whatever the depth is. And then the wire, you can see there's a cut above the box, and in the bay to the left, there's a wire running in there. So I just cut the height of the insulation right at the wire, top and bottom. So for this one, the height was 31 3/4, so I made it like a little bigger than 32 and fit it right in there. These come in 4 foot lengths. So then the piece I have left over, I'll just stick in to start my next one, and then measure here, 25 1/4. So I'm going to go like 25 1/2, a little heavy than that. Okay, so this stuff is super easy to cut. Just pull it out. I said 25 1/2. I'm going to go a little heavy. Make a mark. You can use a square. I just usually do this by eye because I've been doing this so long. Just cut it like a piece of bread or whatever. Cut it all the way through, and then you got to give a final score, and there's your piece. It's that easy. Back here on the wall, you just stick it in. Remember, I made it a little big. It's a little wider. There you go. And then pull out the next one. So this stuff is 15 inches wide. A normal stud bay is 14.5 inches wide, so it comes a ½ inch bigger already, which is perfect. So this bay is 14.25, so it'll work there. This one though is only 9.75, so this one's gonna have to get ripped down to 10.25. So I'll just start with this piece that I've got. We'll stick it in here. Get another full piece. And just a little piece for there. So that last one is 10.75, so I'm gonna go 12.25. Okay. Now if you can't eyeball square, if you have a speed square, you could do that. But again, this is a half an inch big, so you've got a little bit of wiggle room here. All right, so I've got 9 5/8, 9.75. So I'm gonna go 10.25 on this one. So I'm gonna hold the tape like this, 10.25, and I'm just gonna use this part of the tape to make a line on the piece itself, like a scribe. Now I know exactly where to cut that. And to get these in, you just kind of like squeeze it and push it into place. It's very easy, and what's nice about them, you don't have to staple them in traditional fiberglass. You have to staple in these flaps like these were all stapled in. And this just goes right in. And then we're actually going to put a plastic vapor barrier over everything, which is what this paper stuff on the fiberglass insulation, that is what that is. It's like a vapor barrier built in. It's got like kind of a tar backing. So we're gonna do that. So the height of this one is only 45. So I'm gonna go 45.5. And I think it was 10.25. Yep, same thing. So the cutoff from that should fit right in here. This is 4 to 4.25, and this is 5. So I'm just going to take a little bit off of this. Do the same thing here. It's a little short over here. You have a couple little pieces. Fill in that gap. So I'm gonna go 7.5 on this one by 32.25. 32.25. 7.5. I cut that wrong. So I must have, yeah, I got a mark already cut here, but I did it wrong somehow, so it's all right. This stuff is, you just stick it right in there. It's not a problem. It's very forgiving. Now this last little piece, I'm gonna go 1.5 inches. So I had this scrap left over already, so I'm going to start with that. Only got to go another 17 1/4. So it's more than that. I'm going to take it off of this. Yeah. I think we're... Alright, so that's basically it. It's pretty simple. So if you got any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. And if you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And see you on the next video. So 77 minus 16 is 51. No, it's not. It's 61.